More phone calls coming up. Talk some football. Mark Sanchez, NFL and Fox analyst, former NFL quarterback. Let me start with the Steelers. Best case scenario for Pittsburgh this year is going to be what, in your opinion?
Well, I got to check in, Dan. 6'2" and a quarter, 245.
Getting a little heavier, aren't we?
Yeah, twins will do that to you. And I've been
you
celebrating.
Didn't carry them.
I might as well. You should see me.
All right.
I've been carrying them a lot.
What was your playing weight?
I was like 228 to 235, right in there. So we're a good 10 pounds over.
Yeah, Brady still looks the same.
Well, I don't want to sleep in a crypt and sell my soul to the devil. And no, I'm just kidding. The dude's in incredible shape. And hi to the Danettes. And you know what it's really been? I think it's been celebrating my bracketology knowledge from the college basketball tournament. And, you know, the parades and ribbon cuttings and events. I'm like America's guest right now.
It's incredible how much you know about college basketball.
A lot of good food. You know, I might get gout the way I'm living like this. This is nice, you know. No, but for the Steelers, shoot. It's such a unique situation, right? Because they're this blue collar organization. Everything's in house. You know, they keep everything tight, and they rarely go poach a superstar and add them to what they have going on. It's different. You guys are talking about the sale of the Lakers and stuff. Well, the Lakers are known to go grab a superstar and bring them under the Lakers banner, and they're still one of the most iconic brands around the world. Shaquille O'Neal, you know, these different players that they brought, LeBron James, they made their name somewhere else. So Aaron Rodgers made his name somewhere else in a blue-collar city, in Green Bay, and then kind of outgrew that relationship, I guess, right? They kind of parted mutually, whatever, goes to New York, doesn't work out perfectly, tough media market, and now he's got to kind of be in this blue-collar town. The only thing that bridges that gap, because everybody's so scared about that because there's no numbers right now, right? Nobody's producing anything right now. There's no games. So everybody's just speculating like, well, can he fit in? Can he fit in? Culture fit. He's too counterculture. He's not one of us. He's not a Steeler, you know? And there's a us versus them mentality when you're with the Steelers. Look at the terrible towels. Look at all that, right? So they have that culture. The only thing that bridges that gap is his production. And if he produces the way he produced last year, the last 10 games, he was on a heater. He single-handedly basically kept the Jets' playoff hopes alive. They lost about, going back and watching some of their games, they lost about 3 games just with special teams alone, just field goal kicking specifically alone. So those 3 games at the end of the year, I mean, I'm not like the president of Aaron Rodgers fan club or anything, but damn, dude, the guy played his ass off. He threw for like 3,900 yards or just near, whatever it was, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. The last 10 weeks was 18 touchdowns, 4 picks. I mean, put it this way. The Vikings would give – if you could tell the Vikings right now, J.J. McCarthy's going to have Aaron Rodgers' stat line from last year, 100%. They would sign that deal in blood immediately. Immediately. So – I mean, listen, the guy did all that at 41 years old, coming off of an Achilles with a defense that they thought was better and didn't quite pan out, a special teams that was rough, you know, to be nice about it. I don't dislike the move. I think it's probably the right spot. You're always going to get a team that's tough, hard-nosed, blue-collar, and they're going to put you in good situations. They're going to handle all the media stuff. They can handle some of the stuff. You know, yeah, Aaron might say something here or there. Okay, he's a little different. He's not your average, you know, your candid line, hey, we got to bring our A game and we didn't do that today. That's not his interview. Okay, fine. So what? I think the culture of that place and his production, most importantly, can bridge that gap and they can be successful.
Yeah, I think people have a problem with the person and not the player. And that's where I always say to people, you may not like that person, but do you like the player? Because that's the bottom line. The great equalizer is when you get on the field, what can you do? It's like, you know, you may not like Shedeur Sanders' personality, But if he can play when he gets on the field, that's all that matters.
Production.
Yes.
Production breeds tolerance.
Yes.
Winning cures warts. Like, that's what happened. That's people allow a lot if their team's winning.
I'm trying to understand what the Bengals are doing because it's kind of counterculture that they're all offense. They're going all in, and we're just going to score because it doesn't seem like defense is a priority. How does this work?
Here's my thing. Everybody seems to have to play by the same rules, right? Everybody's got the salary cap. Everybody has the same number of players that they can sign. And certain teams, just like we talked about culture, whether it's basketball or football, the Steelers, Lakers, Bengals, certain teams find themselves in these public kind of nasty negotiations. And certain teams don't. The Bengals are notorious for this. Like, it's just always happening. The Cowboys, if Dak Prescott has a leaky faucet in his basement, people find out about it. It's just kind of the way it is. In New York, no matter what you do, trying to prove to your team that, you're this quarterback who's about football and you're trying to win games, you go out to a dinner and happen to be with somebody famous. Well, oh, dude, he's just out on the town every night. Well, is that the truth? I don't know. So, okay, some of it's regional coverage, some of it's the team, some of it's the organization, the leadership, and the culture within that place. But let's not forget, Carson Palmer literally walked away from the game of football because he was so frustrated with this organization. And they've notoriously underpaid some of their players or offered such low contracts that people are like, dude, I'm out of here, whether it's Whitworth at tackle or whoever. Guys are just like, come on, man. Like, and everybody has to deal with it, so I don't understand. But when we go back to production, this guy's producing better than anybody in the league the last couple of years, made a name for himself in New Orleans on his rookie contract, played that contract out opposite of Cam Jordan down there, and gets a huge contract in Cincy. And now it's time for the next version of that contract, the next iteration of that contract. And it sounds like they're upset over the length of the contract and the number, but whatever it is, I mean, you can't let guys like that walk out of the building. And, he's not going to want to take too much less based on his production. And if you're going to pay all these other guys, are you just going to score 50 points a game? Is it going to look like the old Big 12? You score 50 and give up 49? Like, I guess, well, hold on to your hat. But this guy sure helps on defense and gets your quarterback the ball back.
Well, your first-round pick is not in camp either, but, an edge rusher as well. So, and it felt like, you know what? You get this guy who was an underachiever in college, but Stewart does have the potential. Hendrickson has proven that, he's given you 17 and a half sacks and on average the last 2 years. Now you have some defense and you've got all of that offense. I don't care how much offense you got. At some point, you got to stop somebody. And no doubt. Cincinnati's, I mean, this philosophy is really counterculture. I also wanted to ask you about, you start a rookie quarterback, or that at what point do you get to, now I'm going to put you in? How much damage can be done to a rookie quarterback when you get into a situation that maybe you shouldn't be playing in?
Yeah, it's a fragile psyche. And there's different ways to approach it. Obviously, I have my own experience. My experience is shaped off of the year before me being drafted, when Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco make the playoffs as rookies. Before that, it was rare for a rookie to just go out and start, right? Carson Palmer waited behind Kitna for a year, and he was picked number 1 overall. So that was kind of the mode before. Let him listen, let him watch, let him learn. How do I come up with a pregame routine? How do I dress when we go on road trips? What's my routine at the hotel? What do I eat? All these kind of little things, not just learning plays and positions and defensive fronts and blitzes. You got a lot of other things to learn, just an awareness thing. So it depends on the player, I think, number one. And then it depends largely on the supporting cast. If you have the supporting cast that can carry the weight of a rookie when they don't play as well as they should in certain situations, and I was there. I mean, we were in a game against the Bills, and I threw 5 interceptions, and we almost kicked a game-winning field goal with Jay Feely. who's now running for Congress, apparently. I got a message about that. Kind of crazy. Sorry. But we're in the game with 5 turnovers. I mean, I'm not helping us win. If anything, they're winning in spite of me. So those kind of things are going to happen. Now, if you have an established starter, like a Russell Wilson or a Jameis Winston or whatever's going on with the Giants, and then they're going to get their shot, and if it doesn't work out, then you bring the rookie in. To me, that's a little bit like free reps and less pressure. And we're not like trying for a playoff spot. It's almost like pickup basketball. And there's a very fine line. I want you to go get the conditioning. I want you to go get some shots off. You're going to get fouled a little harder than you probably should in a real game with true rules instead of people just calling their own fouls. But I also don't want you to develop a bunch of bad habits, right? I don't want this to turn into an and one mixtape where you're just dribbling the ball all over the place thinking you're the professor. Like, it doesn't work like that. I want you to still play quarterback for our team and get some of these reps. We're going to watch all these reps after the year and then take the good from them, keep moving on, keep progressing. So there's different ways to approach it. But if you have the supporting cast that knows, that's mature enough to know and talented enough to know, hey, we're going to have to pick up some slack for this guy who's going to have a couple rough outings, like some bad outings, then okay. And we're not going to turn on him. You can't turn on him because as soon as you turn on him, you lose the kid. You know, you got to remember these guys are 21, 22 years old and the face of the franchise. And they were just at a frat party, you know, going to invites and, you know, winning their bowl games and big man on campus. And now you're the face of a franchise. You're still 22 years old making all this money, and you're supposed to have the discernment and you know, intelligence of a Supreme Court justice. And it's just not reality. You're still a kid. You just have a lot more money and a lot more access to really cool stuff. And you got to be more mature than you're really expected to be at that age. So it's a tricky situation. I think it depends on the player and the supporting cast.
What was that like? You've thrown 5 interceptions.
Whew.
What's it like when that next play comes in and it's a pass?
Well, yeah, it's so funny. I was of the mind that, like, just get me another quick completion, even if it's a called run and we have like a little bubble screen or something attached to the run. Just get me the ball in my hand so I could feel the little dimples on that Wilson ball on the Duke and just flick it to somebody quickly and get the taste out of my mouth and move on. And then I would always revert back to a Pete Carroll story that he told me. And he's like, you can't be afraid to throw the next interception. Like, you got to keep fighting. You got to keep chucking the ball, not recklessly, but you got to keep chucking the ball. And he went to a speech or a event with Rick Barry.
I think you took it too literally that you weren't afraid to throw an interception that day.
No, you can't. Well, very funny, Dan. No, but he went to this talk with Rick Barry. I'll say it fast, but I know we got to go. But Rick Barry basically gives this speech, and Pete's a young coach, and he runs over to him, and he says, Rick, I love what you said. I'm a big fan. What do you do when you miss your first 10 shots? And Rick Barry immediately, he was known to be pretty brash, and he was kind of a dick, you know, but he was a hell of a competitor and great basketball player. But he basically looked at him and said, you know, I'm a whatever percentage shooter, like 40-some% shooter. He goes, if I miss my first 10 shots, you better look out because the next 10 are going in. You know what I mean? Like, that was his mentality.
Yeah.
So Pete used to give us that speech and remind us, listen, if you go out and throw 3 picks in the first quarter, well, you're a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception kind of guy. That's the kind of quarterbacks we groom here. So if you throw 3 right away out of the gate, defense better watch out. You know what I mean? That day, maybe not against Buffalo, but it all evens out.
Good to catch up with you. I hope it's a great summer, and we'll catch up with you soon again.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's Mark Sanchez, NFL and Fox analyst, former NFL quarterback. We'll take a break. Last call for phone calls. What we learned, what's in store tomorrow, right after this.